Switching from security to law enforcement, is it your best interest? Inside tip? Most likely. Let's discuss. Before we get started, if you are thinking about switching over to law enforcement from another profession, security, or anything else, down below we have those two gifts for you, which is your Getting Started workshop. It's going to walk you through each part of the hiring phases so that you know what you're going to be kind of coming across depending on what department you're applying to has. Additionally, if you have something more specific to your hiring process, you have a question you want to ask, anything about disqualifying factors or anything that pertains directly to you, I'm available for you for a free coaching call. Those are in the description below. Let's jump into it. Why you should switch from security to law enforcement. And I'm biased, but I'm biased because I've done both. So military, right? My entire adult life, I've pretty much worked in the government sector. Military first. And then from there, before I left for the military, I was working private security as like an 18-year-old waiting to ship out to boot camp. From there, I went into the military, did my service obligation there, enjoyed it, multiple tours to the Middle East, and then came back and winded up rotating right into the police academy after I got out of the military. From there, I transferred up to Washington, D.C. with a federal agency up there. I got one federal agency position down in the South, and then I transferred up to DC after that. But in between that, I had a law, went back to do some private security contracting as well there. And then I started my position up in DC, was great for my career, and then led me to all my instructorships, which has led me to where I am now, which is where I instruct full-time. So that being said, is I've seen both sides of the coin here. And if I had my choice, I choose law enforcement and government work every single minute of the day, every day of the week. Now, I'm not saying it's perfect, and I'm not saying that we can't always strive to be better. But what I am saying is that if you compare security, private security, over to law enforcement, or even government security over to law enforcement, those two don't even hold a candle. Security is a great work. It's a great profession if you decide to go that route. If you want to stay that route, there's nothing wrong with doing security. But at the end of the day, you will usually come across a better work-life balance, better benefits, and usually better pay, depending on which way of the security sector you go. And remember, salaries in the security sector might be nice, especially if you're doing some high-end security stuff like personal protection or overseas contracting. Those salaries are usually pretty good, but they come with no benefits, right? So if you have a family or anything like that, you're just kind of out of pocket because you're just a private contractor at that point in time. Whereas government law enforcement, whether it's local, state, or federal, you are going to have state benefits or federal benefits, and there's not much that beats that, especially if you have a family or even yourself for medical and dental, vision, all that stuff, retirement plans. It's all there, matching contributions. That's all stuff that you have, and you can't protect people forever, and you can't do overseas contracting forever, no matter how much you love it. So keep that in mind. And law enforcement is usually one of the last jobs or careers out there with a pension. So you'll usually get a pension. Now it's usually a 3-tier pension, much like the old military pension was, which that's gone. But right now there's still a pension for law enforcement. So keep that in mind too. That's another reason I switch over. But the main thing is, and what I really want to hit on this video is, if you've done security or if you're doing security, you are already in a great segue to get into law enforcement. A lot of people look at security as a good stepping stone to get into law enforcement, and it 100% is. A lot of the same rank structure, a lot of the same, you get duty assignments every morning. It all kind of correlates in a sense to where you have certain authority, right? law enforcement doesn't have any extra rights. They have positional authority that's granted to them by the city, state, or federal governments. So always misconception there. So law enforcement or even private security has certain authority granted to them by a private establishment or by the government to allow them to do the work that they need to do. That being said, if you're armed security, you have certain authority to protect yourself and the life of others from serious bodily harm or death. That's what law enforcement has too. The only difference is their jurisdiction is more wide-reaching, whereas security, you are more pertained to your certain location, which is, maybe it's a security booth, maybe it's the internal compound of a private building, or even federal. You can be federal security or state security, and work access control. So a lot of that is correlates, and it correlates because you deal with people that are disgruntled. You have to de-escalate situations. You have to be kind of hyper vigilant to look for scenarios and situations that seem suspicious. Those are all good qualities and good traits to transition into law enforcement. If I was to tell someone, hey, if someone says, hey, I'm 18, right? Let's go back to the kids here. And if you're 18, I'm not calling you a kid. You're just younger than me, and people that are older than me would call me a kid, right? So if you're 18 and you're coming out of high school and you're saying, what do I want to do? I could go to college. And if I go to college, I don't have the money or scholarships to pay for it, so I got to take loans. Not my cup of tea, not really where I would go. And law enforcement, I've seen law enforcement recently turn down young applicants, 21, 22-year-old applicants, for not having life experience, even though they just graduated from college with even an associate's or a bachelor's. So keep that in mind. Keep that in the back of your head. So experience trumps education any day of the week. Any day of the week. Now, education is effective for promoting down the line. So remember that. I'm kind of hitting a couple side tangents here. But the next thing is if I was coming straight out of high school and I'm 18 and college looks good, but at the same point I can't really afford it, I would go work security. Right. I would go work security, maybe unarmed, right? If you're 18, it depends on state law. If you're allowed to work armed security at 18, maybe someone can leave something to comment depending on their state. They know better than me. But if you come out and I work security, I'd get some experience. Why? Because not only am I making money, but I'm going to get some benefits, because security places, usually if it's a private security establishment that's a company, usually they'll give you some type of benefits. You usually have to work there 6 months to get them, but you'll get some benefits, maybe get a little bit of healthcare, you get a little bit of money, and you can still go to school. Maybe you can take online classes, maybe you can take a couple evening courses. All that stuff would be a really good way to do it and focus on building your career. I'm not telling you not to go out, have fun. I am telling you not to go out, have fun, and get in trouble, because then you're just going to shoot your chances of becoming a law enforcement officer in the foot, and it's just not going to happen. But what I am telling you is go out, get a job in security, gain some experience, right? Do really well. Don't, come in, learn what you can. I always see people use security as a stepping stone and just say, I'm just here to just get the experience. Well, then get the experience. You're going to have bad supervisors in security. I promise you that. I promise you that. There's a lot of disgruntled people in security. It's a very tedious and monotonous job. You think there's going to kind of be some action, and sometimes maybe once in a rare blue moon, maybe there will be. But that's, maybe once a year you might have something out of the norm happen. But at the same point, you're also going to have supervisors that maybe they were prior law enforcement, maybe they wanted to be law enforcement and never got their chance to do it, or never pursued their chance. They may be a little disgruntled, or maybe they're just good supervisors. But learn from the good mentors, ignore the bad ones, or learn from the bad ones. You can learn from bad mentors in security and just say, hey, I'm never going to be that way, right? I've learned what not to do because I disliked it, right? Understand that they may be a little firm because they're trying to educate you, and maybe you're not well receptive to it. But okay, so 18. So join a security firm, do some private security, get the job, start establishing a work history, work there, get 3 years of work history, work there till you're 21, till you're or 20 and a half, and you're able to apply to your departments, right? It's going to take a little, but you have a job, right? Whether it's part-time or full-time, doesn't matter. You have a job, you're in school, right? You go to school, take a class, take 2 classes, take a full semester, doesn't matter. You have a job, you're in school, you're staying out of trouble, and you've gained the experience and the education, even if you don't have your degree yet, but you can get your associates in 2 years. Always get your associates. Never I don't care what your advisor says to you. If you have to get your associates in general studies with a focus in criminal justice, that means that your electives are all in criminal justice, but your degree is in general studies, do that. Right? That's going to look great no matter what. It's going to be, oh yeah, I have my degree. Yeah, my degree is a general studies degree with a focus in criminal justice. Perfect. Thanks. I knocked out all my prereqs and I got done a lot of my higher level courses for criminal justice. Great. You're good to go there. Now, when you turn 20 and a half or you turn 21, you can start applying. But here's the best part. You're not in debt. You've gained experience and you have everything you need to become a young officer on the street that will get hired. If you're in security now and you've been in security for years, right? Let's put the kids behind us. And you've been in security for years. And you say, hey, you know, I enjoy it. I make decent money. The benefits are okay. The notion to transition over to law enforcement should appeal to you for the sheer fact that your benefits will be better. The pay is significantly better now. You're working usually some type of accommodating shift schedule. When I say accommodating, I mean, maybe it's a Panama schedule where you work 3 on, 2 off. Let me rephrase that. You work 2 on, 2 off, 3 on, 2 off, 2 on, 3 off, which means every other weekend you have Friday, Saturday, Sunday off. And every other week you only work Wednesday, Thursday, right? And then, so you're off Monday, Tuesday, you work Wednesday, Thursday, then you're off Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So if you wanted to take leave and you wanted to just only burn 2 days, you get a whole week off, which means you could extend your leave and take weeks and weeks off throughout the year and get good family time in. And then every other weekend, yeah, you have to work a weekend shift. But it's nice. And then other departments do something completely different where they will do maybe 3 shifts. And a lot of times they try to position people where they want to be. If you get put on nights or if you want it nights, you're going to get a differential, a night diff pay. You work weekends, you get a weekend diff pay. It's phenomenal, right? It works out really well for you. So you'll pay off your house and cars quickly, trust me. So as long as you're good with your money. But the caveat to that is even if you don't have education, if you've been in security for a while, you need to understand that you have the experience necessary. Now, if you have some hurdles in your background, as long as they're a while away, you're good to go. If you're high up in security and you're like, this is a nice cushy gig, I get it, stay there. But if you wanted to take it to the next level and security was a stepping stone for you, or now you're thinking security could be a really good stepping stone, a logical progression is to step into law enforcement and kind of get the benefits that come with it, get the good pay, the good benefits, and be a part of a growing community of individuals that want to truly serve their community. So keep that in mind, right? I think that progression for the younger individuals is great. I think that progression for individuals that are currently in security is a good pathway to a career that will always be there for you and will always be able to take care of you, your family, any loved ones you have. So I hope this helps. As always, listen, those gifts are in the description for you. The Getting Started workshop. It's going to walk you through every phase of the hiring process. And there's some hidden bonuses in there, as well as the one-on-one coaching call with myself. It's completely free. Both of these are completely free. They're my gifts to you to help promote good law enforcement officers getting out there on the street, kind of come back and just show the community that law enforcement is there for them. As always, stay safe. I look forward to seeing you next time.